how we arrive at an extremely positive development today for our country. I'm sure that people would be happy that finally we have resolved the issue of the new chairperson for GECOM. So you would recall the engagements we've had. There's several letters that went back and forth between my office and that of the presidency. The meeting we've had at the Ministry of the Presidency where I was accompanied by a large team from my side and the president, a team from his side. And at that engagement, we agreed that we will name representatives to work at hammering out, using the CCJ's word, a list of names not unacceptable to the president. So that team met, and out of their work emerged 5 names that were recommended to the president. And when Irfan and I met with the president thereafter, we had an engagement with the president and Mr. Harman. The president chose 4 of those names as not unacceptable to him. So that meant we had to arrive at 2 other names not unacceptable to the president. The president submitted 2 nominees, made 2 suggestions, and those did not find favor with me. And then I submitted 4 names to him sometime last week, and we've been waiting to hear from him since. However, today at the meeting we've had, we had a very, very positive engagement, and the president chose an additional name from the list of 4. And then there was a discussion about another nominee, a nominee who had asked to be part of my submissions some time ago when I submitted the second list of the names to the president. But at that time, she said that she could not accede to my request to be part of the names going forward. Today, I met with Justice Claudette Singh, and she agreed to have her name submitted to the president. And so we discussed that name, and that meant that we had 6 nominees who were not unacceptable to the president. And I emerged from that meeting. The president wrote me, triggering the formal process now. He wrote me, inviting me to submit the 6 names, which I did shortly thereafter. And he has since written me and made public that he has selected Justice Claudette Singh to be appointed the chairman of GECOM from the list of 6 names that I submitted to him. We're very, very happy with this development. The process was consensual. The names on the list enjoy my confidence, and they enjoy the confidence of the president. They were found not unacceptable to him, and therefore he chose from a list of 6 names that I submitted to him. And so there was no question of a unilateral appointment being done here. And that's a great development for Guyana. Justice Singh enjoys our confidence. We believe that she will deliver fair elections, and that's all that the PBP wants from any chairperson of GECOM: fair and timely elections. And so we're very, very pleased with the development here today. And this brings us closer, one stage closer to election and election date. which now must be announced with urgency, given the ruling of the CCJ and the imperative of our Constitution. So most people recognize that this was a critical starting point. Getting a chairperson in place at GECOM was essential to the process of our elections. And now we have resolved that issue. So it's a really positive development today for us and for the country. I think both sides demonstrated in the engagements we had, the more limited engagements outside of the public statements, good faith in arriving at this decision. So I just wanted to thank all of the people from our side who were part of the engagements with the representatives of the president. I want to thank them too. Mayor Fanali, who was with me in the two one-on-one meetings I had with their president, and Mr. Harmon was with him too. On both of those meetings, we made enormous progress, which resulted today in the new chairperson being selected.
I just want to add to what the leader of the opposition said by thanking the members of the Guyanese community, a number of members of the Guyanese community, the international community, who showed a lot of interest in this matter and would have helped also by letting their views be known. And as the leader of the opposition said, this is one step closer to the election, and we're now looking forward for that date to be announced with urgency so that we can all move Guyana into a comfortable position in where there's predictability and we approach the elections and fulfill our constitutional mandate.
Yes, I intend to personally write all the people who have allowed their names to go forward and thank them for their service or their willingness to serve Guyana. Because all of the nominees that we put forward, the first list of 18 names and those that came subsequent to that, they're all decent, respectable Guyanese who are willing to offer service to our people. And I intend to personally call them and thank them for their offer to serve our country. Yes, please.
Can you say how the process who are the final list?
Well, the list is not going to be. The final list was B.S. Roy, retired judge, Claudette Singh, retired judge, Kashir Khan, attorney at law, Lawrence Latman Singh, governance specialist, Ronald Burt Smith, attorney at law, and William Ramla, retired judge.
And would you say, just for clarity, it appears you suggested that the name Claudette Singh came from the president?
No, this was an interactive process that we've had. But I met Claudette Singh today to find out because I'd asked her earlier, prior to this, and she had indicated that she was unwilling to have her name submitted at that time. So I met with her today, had an extensive discussion with her, and she agreed to that, her name being resubmitted, and the president found favor with that name. This was a name that was cleared very early. If you go back to the newspaper reports, you would have seen me thanking Claudette Singh, Justice Desiree Bernard, Ralph Ramkaran, Timothy Jonas, and others who had accepted at that time to have their names, whose names were cleared by the party, but did not want their names to be submitted for for the post.
Was there any indication as to when this was?
I think it will be done on Monday.
So I'm Minister again, how does this appointment now affect the 50 position of the House?
That's an entirely different matter, the house-to-house registration. As you see from the timeline itself, that the timeline for house-to-house registration will take us way into next year. And that's even to get back to getting a credible list, like where we are now with a list to become, that they want to scrap. It will take us at least 6 months to get back to the list stage, much less holding elections. So clearly that timeline to any sane person would be unacceptable, given the ruling of the CCJ and the position of the Chief Justice when she herself said in a statement that elections should be held by the 18th of September, or if there is an extension of the National Assembly, given by the 2/3 vote in the National Assembly. I've personally spoken to all of our MPs, and not a single one will vote for an extension. Secondly, the order that Mr. Lowenfield went to house registration on was gazetted on the 11th of June secretly, and it's been overtaken by the decision of the CCJ. But more importantly, the activity outlined in that order started only on the 20th of July, after the CCJ had ruled on the 12th of July. So to start house-to-house registration, that must be contemptuous of the court. It has to be an illegal order. And therefore, if there's any hope that elections would be held within the time mandated by the courts and the Constitution, there has to be another process that addresses the concerns of people, that and the house-to-house registration can, not the house-to-house, claims and objection can do that, so that those who are not on the list can get on the list. That's the first case, in the first case, and those who are on the list, like dead people, can be removed from the list. That could be done by GRO. We pointed that out. GRO submitting the death certificates to GECOM, and then a very robust polling place machinery to ensure only people who are eligible to vote, they vote, because you vote now on the basis of biometrics on the list. It has a picture ID. You can have a fingerprint, and then only those people can vote. You can have scanners, etc. So you can have credible elections. In fact, the list that will be produced through house-to-house, if this goes through, will be significantly more flawed than the list we're using now, because from what we already know, they're deregistering large numbers of people. They're going to deregister people. So that is a separate matter. The chairperson of GECOM is in place now. Hopefully we can start there. It brings us closer to the election date. It brings us closer to the election.
Was there anything else discussed with them?
No, not really. We dealt with this matter, but we hope to meet on other issues. I'm really hopeful that if the concerns are genuine and that house-to-house is not used as a slogan by Congress, please, just to delay the elections, which we think, and probably tamper with the list and create confusion, drop people's names and all of that, which would serve to delay the elections even further. That if there is a genuine belief that, the list is bloated, which Mr. Lowenfield himself said it's not true, then let's sit and talk about it. Let's go through it. Let's talk about the registration, how we can work through claims and objection to get everybody registered who is not on the list. The political parties can bring out their supporters to do that. So if it's a genuine movement forward, and then you have to talk about what the international community said. that when they came here in 2018, in May of 2018, they said several government officials were calling for house to house. Under the UN mission, the needs assessment mission, believes that one, house-to-house registration will not provide a more credible list than the one you have. And two, doing house-to-house registration that close to election would create problems for the elections.
Officials were calling for house-to-house. Under the UN mission, the needs assessment mission, believes that one, house-to-house registration will not provide a more credible list than the one you have. And two, doing house-to-house registration that close to election would create problems for the elections. And that was since May 2018 for elections in 2020. If they thought doing it 2 years ahead of elections was too close to elections, much less when you have to hold elections by September 18. So that was an international assessment that was done. So all of those things have to be placed in the pool. And we have to stop misleading people, the PNC and ACNU. Stop misleading people on the ground about bloated lists and disenfranchised, they'll be disenfranchised and all of that. This is just a ploy to create more confusion and delay the elections. Thank you.